The first thing, bam, kingdom split. When his son Solomon died. And then the next thing we realize is that idolatry, disobedience, divided the kingdom and threatened to bring down God's wrath even upon the promises made to the nation. Some people see it easily, you just walk away and that's all. No, that's not all. The wrath of God will come upon you. But they can try to trample the good things of God on the ground. You have some people that when they leave church and they go out there to tell you, me, like everything is worse for me now. Well, it will be worse for you. Because you try to make a joke out of righteousness. And whenever you take righteousness and make a joke out of it, you can't seek it. Amen. I remember talking to an elderly man one day. And he told me when he was younger, he was going to be an Anglican priest. Actually studied to be. And he said a day came and he made a promise. He left the priesthood. He will not study again. The man said to me, that was the worst decision I've ever made in my life. He said, boy, I am old now, and I still regret the day that I left the priesthood. As a young man, going left it. My whole life, I've wrecked his head. So I told him then that I am looking forward to be ordained one day as a minister. He said, I will encourage you. Go forward. Go forward. Keep going forward. So here is one who felt the pains of turning back, encouraging one who is new coming in to go forward. I say all this to add that it's people you're dealing with. Times changes people. You say, what do you mean? Well, nobody lives forever. People die. And as people die, new people come to the scene. And new things happen. And sometimes, in some families, they were a dynamic family when it comes to their faith in God. And they seem to flourish well under a certain group. And after a while, when they leave, that whole group leaves. You know, if you don't know anything, Woodbrook Pentecostal Church is a tremendous church. Still is. And there was a time the Ryans were there. Pastor Ryan, brother, I don't know what, he was pastor of the church. Then his brother is a musical director. And in the youth group, his son, one of the sons, is in music, so he was very good at music. And the Ryans, when you go to Youth for Christ, the Ryans, Youth for Christ, Woodbrook Pentecostal. And then you come to the Nelson. And with the advent of Tudor Nelson, that man from Tobago, the Ryan clan, like the sack, getting wounded. And would you believe that Norris Ryan ended up in Valley Baptist? And he even come to be a minister in the Baptist faith. And of course, Tudor Nelson take over the church in Dallas Street. You never know who God will bring and when He will. You'll be there for a long time doing the work, and God appointed a servant and put him there. And you feel you lose everything. No, if you're a servant of God, just work. But some people say, I can't work with him. I can't work with him. And this is what God He comes to. For those who know Pastor Nelson, I don't know him much, but for those who know him, he was a tremendous preacher.
Amen.
Tremendous preacher. I heard the man on 4 or 5 occasions. That young man could have preached. And even when Pastor Ryan died, they had a service at Valley Baptist. And then they had the interment at La Cruz Cemetery. What Pastor Nelson said at that time, he said, we, that is the Pentecostal, loan you him for a while. And now he is needed on the other side, so he's left us. But his work is over with you. So he's seen as a loan of God from their side to our side. Of course, Pastor Ryan was an asset to the Baptist. Very good. Nope. But the bodies, the Lord put you out there. But the Lord puts the condition. Here he says, your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. Your throne shall be established forever. But, the but is, because David died and his children now come, many started deviating, and that's where the problem lies. In our Baptist work, if you look carefully, MacDonald Gopi preached for us here, a fiery preacher. The last thing I heard is that his daughter was studying to be a preacher, his son was studying to be a preacher. Almost everybody was studying to be a preacher. And they were where? In that church. Our church there by way Pastor Budram is in the back and come on that side. There are some churches where, well, Dr. Our brother, Pastor Mitchell, has 2 sons. None talk about preachers. Our brother, Dr. Budram, has 1 son. I don't think he's interested too much on preaching. Pastor Rajnath, I don't hear him talk about his son interested in preaching. There are a lot of preachers who have children that have no interest in the ministry, but they are faithful in their churches. What the Lord makes clear to all who are in this life, I'll bless you, and I'll bless those around you once you don't deviate from the path that I lead you on. Believers, I said to you, we'll stop at this point. Next week I want to continue. But there's a firm resolution that those of us who continue what God had told us to do, the blessings will come. Those of us who deviate from it and take our own course, as sure as the blessings will come, so the curse will come. I will urge you, look, watch as the scripture says, watch and pray. Stay with what the Lord advises to do, than to fall under the wrath of God. I've seen too much today who started out real good in this faith. They forgot the instructions of God and paid a very high price for it. If God is blessing you, as we sing in chorus, if you know the Lord is blessing you, what do you have to worry about? And if you know the Lord is blessing you, why don't you seek Him? There are many who slide out getting God's blessing. And because they dare to violate God's law. God is very serious with his law. You pay a price. And a very serious price. I want to continue next week for us to show how the drama ends with David now being on the throne of the land. In other words, what the Lord said, David will be a righteous branch. The righteous branch, David. I'll raise up that branch. Saul, tormented by an evil spirit. His mind was deranged now. Seeing things, hearing things, God. Because he dared to go against what God instructed him to do. And there are a lot of people today who they don't even know what hit them. They're blaming everybody, they're blaming everything. Believers, if you go contrary to God, a lot of things will happen to you. Things you couldn't think about is you can't think about. Will happen. Go back to the same God, but he will help you. But don't make it look like it. I don't know what happened. You will know, you cannot know what happened. All you know that you're not in line with the one who eventually called. Therefore you'll pay a big price for it. But we'll examine that next week. So I want to leave with this, the thought. One, Saul was chosen. The prophet God used, Samuel. Saul was faithful to God for a period of time. But there came a time in Saul's life when Saul started to forget God. And what God did? God chose another king. And that king was an ordinary soul. But from the day he was chosen and the prophet anointed him, the Bible said the Spirit of the Lord fell upon him. And this was the man, in spite of a lot of mistakes that he made in life, took the leadership. And what happened to this one? Out. Start seeing things, consulting strange things, and doing the strange things. I'll advise, stay faithful to the God who called you. And in all your ways, acknowledge him. And what the Bible tells us, he will direct our paths. Let's pray, please. We're going to get into the Lord's Supper. Almighty God, many times we get comfortable. Many times we get proud. And we forget that you're the one who appointed us where we are. We forget sometimes that whatever blessings came our way, you allow it to come. Sometimes we look at ourselves and see who we are. But Lord, help us to realize that we are nothing without you. And help us to rely upon your Holy Spirit. Help us always to remember it's not by might, not by our power, whatever strength we have, but by my Spirit, says the Lord. Help us to keep this in mind in Jesus' name.